This will put him in it. Give Larry a little cushion here, Jim.
Yep.
He's a marvelous player. He's not maybe as well known as a lot of players, but he is beautiful to watch. Fine player.
Look at that. 2 in a row for Larry Nelson. Local boy makes good. 7 under for the championship, 3 under for the day. That's right, he lives in Ackworth, Georgia, not far from here.
Well, when he won at the Atlanta Classic a year ago, I believe, he absolutely had the whole gallery with him.
And there it goes. Hung for a moment and then dropped in. So Nelson, a couple of birdies in a row that we've seen, and now Bob Eastwood with a chance for a birdie here.
Big putt for Bob, too. As you pointed out, he bogeyed 10 and 11. Now he has a chance to get back on track here a little bit, get steadied down. As we pointed out, this is your last real good opportunity for birdie.
You've just joined us. He led for a while today after making a hole-in-one at the 4th, and ooh. You want to take your time with this one, too, don't you?
You want to take your time with all of them at this point.
Okay, but it's a par 5 for Bob Eastwood, so he remains at 4 under for the championship, tied with Andy North and Tom Kite. 3 shots out of the lead, 1 shot behind Bob Murphy, who's a solo second at the moment. Good look at Eastwood at age 35. I doubt very much that you've seen him frequently on television before, but because he just hasn't been in contention very much. Now, Andy North.
Bob Murphy made par at 12. Andy's got the perfect kind of putt you want here. A little uphill. Green's not real fast due to the wet weather we've had. Looks like the putt he made at Cherry Hills to win the tournament. Hit it.
Oh, dear.
And it must have hit. You'd see him sort of tap something down. Maybe it hit a little something there, which happens when the greens are so soft. You can't play for those little bumps. But by and large, they've been good, or you wouldn't be shooting 4 under par and 7 under par.
U.S. Open champion at Cherry Hills, remember? Well, those mammoth putts he made on the 18th hole 2 days in a row. And look at the gallery they have here. They haven't announced the crowd yet for today, but yesterday it was over 20,000, and they've been talking maybe they get 40,000 by Sunday. There is no limit on the crowd, as there sometimes is. Now look at that 15th hole again, and the water that would truly terrify the normal golfer who's liable to fade one and slice at any time.
It terrifies even some of the above normal golfers here this week, okay?
When you hit those railroad ties, you don't get any lucky breaks either. Jack Nicklaus.
Jack William Nicklaus,
with
defending champion.
With a 4-iron, we're told, specifically.
Left.
Yep, left. About 5 feet off the green, but in some fairly difficult rough. A good look from the other angle, and a look at the defending champion, man who's won this championship 5 times. Talked to Jack the other day, had an interesting, fairly long talk with him. One of the things I asked him about was what he's going to do when he finishes playing here, finishes the World Series of Golf, between then and the beginning of his next season.
Most of my time's going to be spent going to watch Florida State play football. You know, Steve is playing football for Florida State this year, and hopefully he'll be playing some. And if he does, I'm intending to go to all those games, except for the one I'll miss for the Ryder Cup. And outside of that, Gary is now getting into high school, and I'll watch him. Nan is in high school. I'll be watching her do different things.
Let's see, she's changed from gymnastics to something else now.
Nan does a little bit of everything. She plays volleyball in the fall and soccer in the winter, and she's playing softball in the spring. But I'll go see Jack up at North Carolina a little bit, and of course, the golf courses that I'm doing, we finish a lot of golf courses up, you know, September, October, and I'll be spending a lot of time doing that, and hopefully I'll be able to spend some time at home just relaxing and having some fun.
Okay, Jack Nicklaus with his future plans. We'll be back with Larry Nelson leading by 2.
And now Larry Nelson leads by 2 strokes in this year's PGA Championship. And looking very smooth indeed. And I hesitate to say that the Nelsons, Murphys, Kites, Eastwoods of this world are like the Rockies of the film world, but that's really what this great game is all about, particularly the PGA Championship. I think a lot of club pros get to enter, and one is always looking for the end of the rainbow and the magical road over the hill leading to fame and fortune. That's what's so exciting about it all. This is Kite for a birdie. Is he going to stop being a bridesmaid and be a bride? Oh, nearly, nearly, nearly. Wonderfully consistent player, Kite, but not yet a winner. Let's hear from Bill Fleming. He's been following this group, and is he playing that consistently, Bill?
Well, you know, David, the strange thing about Kite today was he really started off in kind of bad fashion. Even though he birdied the first hole, he came back and made a bogey, and then he's just sort of been hanging in there until this back nine, and he's thrown 2 birdies in a row in the back nine. So I still think he's one to be a contender.
Kite remains 4 under. Looking very relaxed. Bob Eastwood at the 13th dogleg right round the corner. Oh, I think he looks like a man who's pulled that one away. Oh, but you see how wet the greens are. It holds and stops. And nothing that a monster putt won't put right. But he knows he pulled his arms in a bit too quickly. Snatched it, pulled it left. Now Larry Nelson, just watch this smooth swing. Not a big man. Slightly elevated green. And that's the way you do it. Just a little bit further away than where Andy North was a few moments ago. He is looking very good indeed. Now Murphy was in the bunker that Jack Nicklaus was in, that Tom Kite was in, and he's got a very tricky shot. The flag is to the right, but the trees are in the way. Bob wants one of his magical cut shots if he can do it. Or has he skirted it over the corner, over the trees? He has indeed. It just falls off the green. Rather unlucky. Went for it perhaps too boldly, and he's left himself a very tricky little chip from that heavy rough. There's Larry Nelson marching up the fairway. Earlier, Bill Fleming spoke with Larry Nelson.
I would think that you'd get an added inspiration from the great crowd reaction you've had.
Well, it really has. The people here have been great, you know, to me and for me, I guess. And today was no exception. I went out and had a bunch of people with me this morning early and made a couple of putts, and they got excited and I got excited. And so I really kind of put everything together on the backside. I made a couple of good pars and a couple of pretty good birdies. And so I was just excited about the people here and excited about the way I'm playing, and look forward to playing 2 more rounds in this championship.
Nice round of applause for Larry Nelson. Very good crowds here today. An ideal day for playing and watching, although the underfoot conditions could be a little firmer, a little drier. But the temperature is nice. It's not too humid, not too sticky. There's a little bit of breeze about. And so far we've had just a couple of little 5-minute, 3-minute rain squalls, but nothing too desperate. And the scoring has been excellent by many of the players today. Really target golf. The players basically can fire their second shots virtually with any club onto the greens, and you've got to consider yourself a little bit unfortunate if the ball doesn't stop very quickly indeed. There's Murphy on the left, just going off the green with a very difficult little chip indeed, because if he pitches it too short, it won't go forward. If he's too bold, it'll skip on. But these players are so skillful that you'd have to say if you gave him 3 goes at it, he'd get it within a foot. But can he do it with his one and only effort? Of course he can. Beautifully done. Nerve and control. Looking down the 15th, Tom Kite on the tee, and look at that, the fairway almost lined all the way to the green, 10 deep with spectators. Ooh, that looks like a man who's anxious that it's going to the right. And it is, and that is in the water. Let's hear from Bill.
Yeah, I'm afraid he hit the water there on the right side. It was exactly the right club. It's just too far to the right. And a big swirl went up, and of course, his heart sank.
Well, he's playing with Fuzzy Zeller and Jerry Pate. Jerry Pate 2 under par for the championship. Fuzzy 3 under. Back to Eastwood at the 13th, and this long putt. This is his 3rd shot. Very nicely done. It's like crown bowling, rolling it up to the jack. He was at least 25 yards away, and that's an excellent putt from there after, for him, a poorish 2nd shot. And how about that? That's coming up next on Wide World of Sports. The Trotters, well, I've seen a lot of that in Australia, never had the pleasure of seeing it here. And the weightlifting championships, too. Now, here's Fuzzy Zeller's tee shot at the 15th. And on the green safely. Looks a little unhappy, but he should feel a lot happier than Tom Kite, whose ball is feeding the fishes. Harry Nelson. Well, we watched this putt earlier of Andy North's, and whether he hit a little spike mark and shot away to the right, or whether it was the lie of the land, well, we'll have to wait and see. Although there's Andy North on the left with that very individualistic putting style for a birdie. And he's just slipping them out today. Nelson on the right, and he gets it dead center. That's 2 in a row for Nelson. He goes to 8 under. And one of the quiet men is marching on. Three birdies in a row. And if you keep doing that, the game is a delight and easy. So, 3 strokes ahead of Bob Murphy now in this year's PGA Championship. We're leaving you for a moment, but we'll be back.
Back at the Atlanta Athletic Club, the PGA Golf Championship, and here's the 14th hole, Dave.
Another dog leg to the right, a little more severe than 13. Green, more elevated hole again. Better stay down the left side just a little bit. Don't get teased going down that right side. Aim at that bunker that you see just out of Larry's forearms here. That's just about where he looks like he's aimed. And hit you a little left to right, not a big one.
Tee shot of the leader, coming off 3 straight birdies. He's 8 under par, 4 under for the day. When you're hot, as it has been said before, you're hot.
Well, he is a very tough player. This young man has come out and won almost $900,000 in a short time. He hasn't won a lot of tournaments, but he is a very good player. And when he gets in the groove, he's tough.
Okay, here's Bob Murphy. Remember when he won at Westchester some years ago? He was listed as being born in New York. He lived there till he was old, I think, but the New Yorkers cheered him all the way.
That didn't sound solid.
There it is.
You give Murph a hole where you've got to go left to right, and that's the way he plays. He will eat your lunch.
Murphy, of course, in 2nd place, 3 shots behind Nelson. Bob Eastwood, 4 shots off the pace now, and here he is. There's what he's done on this hole in the 2 previous rounds. Tremendous crowd here today, and they're still gathering. We're told there's no official attendance figure yet because the traffic was backed up for miles, and people are still coming in.
Hang on just a little bit.
I heard it come back.
Bobby may be getting a little too fast, but that bunker's caught a lot of good players today.
Yep. Of course, you can't build a superhighway into a golf course just for a championship, so they've had a traffic problem today, but as you can see, every group has spectators all along the fairway.
We'll take a look, Jim, at the average size man, and he makes a very, very good turn here. Larry Nelson, nothing really funny about this swing. Good position at the top of his swing, maybe just a little across the line. Now watch as he starts down, gets the club inside, stays behind the ball with his head in the upper part of his body, move through with his weight, just the way you'd love to swing a golf club under pressure.